Minnesota swept the Suns in a statement series. Are there off-season changes coming in Phoenix?
I'm not sure what, Greeny, and I'd have to get to some of our cap guys like Bobby Marks and them, but from what I understand, they went all in on this year, and it didn't quite pan out. So something needs to change. What can change? I'm not sure.
Yeah, stay with us because a little later in this hour, we are going all in on the Suns and their superstars. Meanwhile, Jay Will, Pacers yesterday taking a commanding 3-1 lead over the Buccaneers. Are there the Milwaukee Bucks, excuse me. I've been at the draft. Are there off-season changes coming in Milwaukee?
I think health is going to be critical as you think about the Bucks, but I also think finding a 3-and-D guy. I think they need more of a defensive presence moving into the next year. But obviously, if they had Giannis and Dame, I think it would be a different scenario against Indiana.
We'll see where this thing goes as they're down 3-1. Alan Hahn, Jalen Brunson scored 47. Knicks up 3-1 on Philly. Is that series over?
It is over for several reasons. Why history tells you that Philadelphia 76ers have never come back from a 3-1 deficit. Start there. And if Joel Embiid thinks that the crowd in Philadelphia wasn't good, where do you get a load of what's coming at the Garden on Tuesday night? This is a villain coming into the Lions' den. He's going to hear it all night long. That's going to be a tough game for them to win.
So let's start there. Let's start with that one because there's so much to take apart from what was a fascinating weekend in Philadelphia.
Just put your
guys, stay with me here. Stay with me.
Okay.
Guys, stay with me.
Sorry.
Monica,
yes.
Let's start with Jalen Brunson.
Yes.
Okay, because before we get to all of the Philly stuff, and there is a lot to get to, let's start with Brunson. Because this is a player who was getting first-team All-NBA support. He was getting MVP caliber kind of support. First 2 games, it almost looked like the world was ready to say, see, he really isn't as good as people were saying. And then yesterday happened.
So the first thing is, as a hooper, you want the opportunity to go up against an opponent over and over again. The more you play, the more familiar you are with what they're doing to you. Second, you just mentioned all the accolades when it comes to Jalen Brunson. Should be All-NBA for sure, was an All-Star, high basketball IQ. He just needed a little bit of time to figure out what the Sixers were doing to him, and he was able to make the necessary adjustments. He's attacking, he's getting to his spots, he's been crafty with the basketball. His footwork is undeniable. So it was only a matter of time before the JB of the regular season showed up.
Okay, and now we have concluded the saying nice things portion of Get Up this morning, and now let's turn our attention to the other side. You know, there is an expression that gets overused in sports. They wanted it more, right? We always hear, this team wanted it more. Most of the time, that isn't actually true. It's just a thing we say. Yesterday, in that fourth quarter, the Knicks wanted it more. They got every loose ball. They got, I'm counting, 107 offensive rebounds. They made the Sixers, they made the Sixers look slow. They made the Sixers look frustrated. They made the Knicks just fought them in that fourth quarter yesterday with the season on the line.
The end-of-game execution by Philly was so poor. I mean, it was extremely poor. First off, Joel Embiid was having a full-court press by himself, which led to a three-point shot. You talk about he didn't take an open shot when he was based in the corner. He decided to drive. Now, I know he was getting bailed out by foul calls. He had all of his points in the third quarter by fouls, but you shoot that open jumper. And also, how about Tyrese Maxey and the confusion with Kyle Lowry on the free throw?
Yep.
There were just a lot of things going on where you look at Philly, you can tell me that the Knicks wanted it more because they did out-execute, but at the end of the day, the lack of execution on the scouting report by Philly was extremely poor down.
Can we give credit, though, to Tom Thibodeau and his team as well, because the adjustments that they continue to make throughout this series. Isaiah Hartenstein was drawing foul after foul after foul against Embiid because he was guarding him like he's a center. With that bad knee, he's not a center. He was playing like a wing player. So they put a wing defender on him, OG Anunoby, and he took away all those easy free throw attempts that he was getting and forced what was, instead of taking a jumper, he tried to drive it to the basket and they blocked his shot. So he was also confused. The defense, the effort, the shot clock violation, Monica, that they got with Precious Achiuwa getting the block, that was a clinic defensively by the Knicks. And by the way, it was on brand for them. They have done this all season long.
The Knicks have been forced to go into their rotation. Precious Achiuwa didn't play the first 2 games of this series, right? Mitchell Robinson's unavailable, dirty plays, whatever happens in Philly. Isaiah Hartenstein gets in foul trouble. But the Knicks have been able, and they've been saying this, Greeny, and anybody that has followed along with me on this journey, they find a way, right? Guys have the utmost professionalism of being able to step into a ball game when their number is called, despite where they stand in the rotation, and answer the call.
Great. I'm giving the Knicks all the credit in the world because their rotations were great, but I think once again you're seeing a lack of basketball IQ on the court by Philly. If they're going to double team Joel Embiid off the bounce, you have to have some plays to counter that. You can't just settle for outside jumpers, which they did a ton.
Yeah, so I guess maybe it wasn't all Doc Rivers' fault when the Sixers couldn't get out of the second round. They bring in Nick Nurse, who is, a championship coach and all this kind of stuff. And listen, the heel turn that Embiid has taken in this series has been remarkable to watch. Now, I mean, the numbers are the numbers, and I'm willing to give him a break on the fact that he's been out like crazy. Many NBA players wouldn't have even come back at this point, right? He fought like crazy to come back. Have been, frankly, if you went into the series without a rooting interest, it's been kind of hard not to come out of it rooting against him.
Well, this is also why Jay was doing the thing we did at the beginning there.
Right.
You were trying to keep us on point. But the idea was that even in this game, after all the stuff that happened in Game 3, because he was completely rattled and out of control in Game 3. But in Game 4, we saw him step on a player who was down as well. There was just too much. And this elbow right here, where he just crushes Brunson and nothing is called and nothing is said, that almost lit a fire, I think, under Jalen Brunson, because rather than retaliate, which is what a lot of players and a lot of people talked about the Knicks had to do, they had to get back against Embiid. What Jalen Brunson did was look him in the eye and he said, on your floor, in your building, you're the MVP. I'm the captain now. But and he took it to him all game long.
And I look, a lot of my friends are Philly fans. The last thing they want to hear is Joel Embiid call out the crowd for the Knicks fans showing up. Now, I know that's a really big thing, and I know the chants that were going on along, but Philly fans want to see Joel Embiid and the rest of the team step up and win those games that they feel they deserve to win.
I can play that for you if you want to hear it. Joel, if you watched the game yesterday on ABC, there were moments that it sounded like a Knick home game. It was remarkable how loud the Knick fans were, and Joel Embiid noticed.
Disappointed. I love our fans. Think it's unfortunate, and I'm not calling them out, but it is disappointing. Obviously, you got a lot of Knicks fans, and they're down the road and never seen it. And I've been here for 10 years. Kind of pisses me off.
I mean, he's not wrong. But my thing is, like, the timing of when you say that.
I mean, at the end of the day, they have bigger problems. Now,
yes.
I will say this, just as an observer, and you guys tell me if you think I'm wrong. I don't think the series is over. I really do not. I think the Sixers have every one of the games in this series could have gone either way, including yesterday. The Sixers are up 10 points when he gives the little elbow there to Jalen Brunson, and it sort of seemed to light a fire under the Knicks. Do you feel like this series is over? Watching it, would it stun me if the Sixers came in tomorrow night, win that game, and now all of a sudden we're looking at a Game 6 in Philadelphia where anything can happen? I'm not suggesting at this point I would bet on Philly straight up, but I do not feel like, well, that's it, dead and buried. Pencil the Knicks in for the next round. Am I the only one who feels that way?
Yes.
Yep.
I think.
So this is what I was.
I think the Knicks are a smarter team, and I think they execute
that part
more efficiently down the stretch because of their leadership, frankly.
That part. I will say this. I'm not going to say it's over because I'm going to take a page out of Jalen Brunson and Tom Thibodeau's book and hit you with the coach cliche. It's one game at a time. So it's not over because it's not over. However, in terms of past habits indicating future behavior, gotta look at the Knicks.
Knicks haven't closed out a series at home since 1999. It's been a long time since they've done this. That building is going to be loud.
Okay, so that's one game of a really fascinating quadruple header in the NBA yesterday. We have a lot to say.